Now, we haven't had any actual live events so far this chapter, but we have had a mini events. In which mini events, or should I say mini live events, are literally 2-minute events, well, moments that happen in Battle Royale. And these mini events are to do with the storyline and they bring us into the next season. On the final update of Chapter 5 Season 1, we were all extremely surprised to hear that there will be a mini event that brings us into Chapter 5 Season 2. And this mini event was the rise of the Pandora's box, where the community actually took a part, and this was by detaching the Pandora's box from the actual hand of the Titan, in which this caused everything inside the Pandora's box to be unleashed. And this mini event was the initial build up for Chapter 5 Season 2 Myths and Mortals, and the beginning of everything that's gonna happen within the next few seasons. Because the Pandora's box is literally the most crucial thing in Chapter 5. Now, moving on into the last week of Chapter 5 Season 2, Zeus wants to destroy the Pandora's box. And although Zeus doesn't have that much power left as all of the hourglasses were broken, Zeus still had some power to charge up the statue at Mount Olympus, rise its sword up into the air, and completely strike with lightning on the Pandora's box. And while we don't know if the Pandora's box actually got destroyed or not, because in this current season it turns out that it is still out there, but the Pandora's box was heavily damaged and it did disappear. But you know the orange orb on the Pandora's box? Well, that whole entire orb escaped out and created a massive sandstorm, which will soon collapse on us and it will bring us into Chapter 5 Season 3 Wrecked. Now, this mini event wasn't the most interactive mini event, but it did actually send you into the sky, which is something we haven't seen since the Big Bang, so that was pretty cool. They were actually sending us into the sky, just floating there in a mini event. And we were just practically watching all of this in a normal game of Battle Royale. So this mini event actually felt like an entire live event, but obviously it couldn't be a live event because it was only like 2 minutes long. If it were to be an actual live event, then Fortnite would have to promote it, give it promo art, and make a countdown and all that stuff like that. But because this event was 2 minutes and it happened in an actual BR game, makes it a mini event. So now, as we've had a mini event every season so far of this chapter, makes people think that this season and next season we're gonna be having a mini event. And then in Fortnite OG Chapter 2, we're gonna be getting an actual live event, and you can see that we're gonna get a live event in the roadmap. Now, if we were to have a mini event this season, which is most likely, by the way, what would it be about? Well, it's definitely gonna have something to do with Megalodon and his Leviathan ship. If you did not know, right now Megalodon is actually fueling up his ship with nitro, and he's hogging all of this nitro from the machinist. But when his Leviathan ship is fully filled up with nitro, he is gonna raise the island to the ground. And well, obviously him and his wasteland warriors will be on the ship as well, and they will cause so much chaos, harming the island a lot. And this is Megalodon's plan to take over the island. But let's be real here. How will he do this? Just how will he do this? Obviously, Megalodon is going to be sailing down the island, causing chaos everywhere, but this is gonna be very hard to do, and I mean very hard, because every single stream and river and lake on this island are extremely narrow, meaning that he's most definitely gonna hit something. If he hits buildings and like other structures though, that's fine, because Megalodon's goal is to literally just mess around the island and destroy things and stuff like that. But if he hits like rocks and sides though, then that's not gonna be very good for him and his Leviathan ship, as it could possibly cause the ship to crash. So if Megalodon's Leviathan gets wheeled into this stream entrance right here, in which this is actually a very narrow stream, but I think he'll survive. But what the ship would do, it would crash into many bridges and platforms and end up into the middle lake on the island, which is a really drought and shallow lake, by the way. So he could either get stuck here or follow up another stream. If he's able to turn the boat very sharply, then he will be able to go through Reckless, in which he will hit a few tiny rocks and the bridge that takes you into Reckless, and then the Leviathan would then end up at 3 possible routes. If he turns and takes this really sharp one here, then he'll end up at the glacier, so that's a dead end. If the Leviathan continues to go straight from reckless and take a few edgy turns, then it will end up going through classy, and it will end up at this lake where the Leviathan's bound to be getting stuck here. So that's another dead end. Now, if the Leviathan takes the left route, then it is pretty much bound to crash because this route is actually so tight and narrow that when it hits here, it will most likely get stuck and crash into Lavish. So that's pretty much a dead end as well. But now, instead of going through reckless, what if he actually goes through restored reels? Well, again, there are 3 possible routes that he could take. If the Leviathan is able to take a really sharp turn here, then it will be able to go through Pleasant Piazza. But if Megalodon does decide to go through this route, then it will most likely get stuck and crash because there are so many curves. And also remember, the Megalodon is an extremely large ship and there's no way it would be able to fit through this. So yeah, that's a dead end. If the Leviathan takes an upturn, then it will be able to go through this smoothly as the river is kind of widened out here. But you see, this route is a definite dead end. As yes, the Leviathan is a really strong ship, but it won't be able to survive natural massive rocks like these. So it will most likely crash into these rocks, and yeah, that's a dead end. Now, the Leviathan could also go through Grim Gate as well, as this route actually looks pretty clear. No rocks, no edges, no curves, only a few turns. This should be fine, right? Well, no, it's a dead end. Because right here, there is a waterfall. And yeah, it is a pretty small one, but if the Leviathan does decide to go this route, then it's definitely crashing into this, making it a dead end. But you're probably saying, what if the Leviathan went round the island? Well, this is also a very stupid idea as well, because if Megalodon wants the Leviathan to destroy things, then this ain't gonna do anything, is it? So there is literally no safe route for the Leviathan to go. Meaning that Megalodon's plan is most likely gonna fail. Although he's gonna cause a lot of damage if he goes down any river on the island, but it will also consequence to the Leviathan as well, as it will most definitely crash. So Megalodon's plan about raising the island to the ground with his Leviathan is most likely gonna fail. But like, what's actually gonna happen in this season's mini-event? Well, I came up with a few predictions. The first one is to do with the river Styx. If you go up to the Queen of the Underworld, aka Persephone NPC, as Megalodon, she will say, "Sail that Leviathan down the river Styx, immortal, and see what happens." Now, we've seen a boat go down the river Styx before, and this was actually in the Chapter 5 Season 2 trailer, and it didn't really look like that the boat was being damaged in any way by the river Styx. So I believe that the river Styx in Fortnite is unharmful. So that will be fine for the Leviathan, right? Well, no. Because if the Leviathan goes through the actual river Styx into the underworld, then it will hit the actual waterfall and then crash. And as Persephone is daring Megalodon to do this, in which Megalodon is somewhat of a darer, he will most likely go down the river Styx. And well, this is what I think the mini-event is gonna see, where we watch the Leviathan go down the river Styx and miserably crash, just because of a waterfall. But obviously Megalodon and the rest of the Wasteland Warriors won't die from this. And so this is where I believe that the Pandora's box will probably suddenly rise up out of nowhere and maybe capture Megalodon and the rest of his Wasteland Warriors. Maybe something like that will happen. Or maybe this season's mini-event could possibly bring back the 0 point, as the Leviathan could possibly get stuck in the middle lake on the island, and well, it's heavily believed that the 0 point is under this lake, because you know, the 0 point's literally always under a lake. So because how drought this lake is, maybe the Leviathan could dig into the ground and rise up the 0 point, something like that, I don't know. And the 0 point could lead us into the Marvel season, because the last Marvel season we had was all about the 0 point, as it was literally called the Nexus War. So maybe the Leviathan could accidentally bring us into a Nexus War 2.0, where instead of Galactus wanting the 0 point, what if it's the Wanderer? And that his business on the island is to find the 0 point? Or what if the Leviathan doesn't accidentally raise into the lake and locate the 0 point? What if the Wanderer knows that the 0 point is here, and as you know, the Wanderer and Megalodon are working together, power. So he's making Megalodon rise it so the both of them could get full power over the island. And then the Marvel heroes will come onto the island and they'll have to defeat the Wanderer. We really don't know. But this season's mini event could possibly have something to do with the 0 point. But it will definitely have something to do with the Leviathan. And most likely even the Pandora's box. And we'll get an answer to what this mini event is actually gonna be about in stage 5 of this season's storyline quest. The Great Leviathan Heist. And so when these quests come out, the Leviathan will most likely start moving, and when stealing the 4th and final gem, we'll get an answer to what this season's mini event will actually be about. Also, what if we don't actually get a mini event for this season? It's unlikely, but you never know. But even if there is going to be a mini event this season, which is most likely, all we can do now is predict, and this is what this video is about, me predicting what's actually going to happen in the build up to this season's mini event, and what will actually happen in this season's mini event. But what do you guys think is going to happen in this season's mini event and with the Leviathan ship? Well, let me know down in the comments. Also, join the Discord server, link in description, and like and subscribe, and yeah, I guess.